Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to SMUT Sunday. Meant to be SMUT Saturday. I'll let you know as to why it's not when I start doing my makeup. But yeah, it was a rough day yesterday. So it's SMUT Sunday now. And today, no wait, I should have introduced myself, right? Welcome back if you already know who I am, and if you don't know who I am, I'm Anne. And I'm an author, so if you're a SMUT lover and you're kind of offended by the SMUT thing, don't worry, it's positive. I love SMUT. I write SMUT. I read it. It's a good thing. So anyway, now that you know who I am, this video and this series is all about putting on makeup while I talk about books, and specifically SMUT books. I am doing Thriller Thursday next week though. But this week we are talking about Exodus by Kate Stewart and The Legacy by Dylan Allen. If you haven't watched last week's video, I talk about the first book in this duet, which is Flock by Kate Stewart. So quickly, maybe go and watch that. Not quickly, because she's long. But if you want to know about, because they are like a duet and Flock does end on a cliffhanger. So if you want to know more, pop into that. But The Legacy is a complete standalone. It is the first in a new series by Dylan Allen. So exciting. Again, two really different books, which I'm loving. Mild spoilers about Flock, but not that much. So yeah. What else have I got to say? I don't know. I don't know what else I've got to say. Jeepers creepers. So if you want to subscribe, please, and like if you want to, if you like this kind of thing. And yeah, let's get into the video. I'm going to start off with a bare face and slightly crazier here, and we will start talking about the books. Thanks so much for watching, and without further ado, let's get into the makeup. So this is the second time we filmed this, because yesterday, I don't know, I waited till the last minute to film this, obviously, which I do with almost everything in my life, and I just wasn't feeling it yesterday, you guys, which I should have, I shouldn't have forced myself. This isn't something I want to force myself to do. I want to do it when I feel like it. I want it to be fun. And yesterday, I filmed the whole video, and it wasn't good, and I'm not going to share things with you guys that I'm just doing for, you know, the point of it. I want to continue to do this weekly, but definitely not put out something that I don't feel is like me or whatever. So, but I'm not going to harp on about that. We're going to talk about the books. Try to do my own nails. I don't wait long enough for them to dry. I get too impatient, so they're fucked up. So just don't look at that. Alright, so I think the first book that we should talk about is Exodus by Kate Stewart. And yes, I am going to try yet another foundation, because I'm me. And yes, it probably won't match my fucking face, but you know, let's just go for gold. For those of you who watched last week, you'll know that Exodus is the, oh my god. So this, by the way, this foundation is meant to be really good, hopefully, because my skin hates me, but it smells like paint thinner, like fully smells like paint thinner. So I don't really do very well with fragrances. As you can see, my skin is just, she's having a rough time. Anyway, what should I use? Should I use a brush to try and buff this fucker in? So Exodus by Kate Stewart. Oh, how's that coming off on camera, guys? Probably not good. Exodus by Kate Stewart. The sequel to Flock, which I talked about last week. So if you are new here and you haven't watched last week's video, you should probably pop and check that out first. So I'm going to put my fan on because I got so hot. That's another reason I got like crazy sweaty. And you could see in the video, and it wasn't cute. I just ran hot naturally. So this is a sequel to Flock. Well, not the sequel, it's a duet, right? I don't know if I like the way that this is applying with a brush. Get the old faithful beauty blender out. It's the sequel to Flock. And this one, like, I would have thought, you know, she already fucked me up bad enough with Flock, right? You can't really give me more, because she already did me, like, real crazy with Flock. But, oh my gosh, you guys. So, as I said, Flock begins in the future with Cecilia going back to Triple Falls, you know, for this guy she loves. And then we go back in time to figure out what's going on. And so the first book, Flock, is about her relationship with Dominic. I swear I keep calling him Damien. Or maybe I was calling him, I don't know. Guys, I suck with names, don't judge me. So like, Flock was about Cecilia's sexual awakening with Sean and Damien, and as I said, Kate Stewart did something that is like quite hard for me to do because I'm not like a huge kind of menage reader, apart from, as I said, Flesh by Carly Scott, which is amazing. But she did like what I think is like almost impossible. She made me root for both of them. Like usually I have one that I want her to get with more. So in my head, I thought that this was going to be, because obviously there's a climactic ending and there's this Frenchman guy that we all want to know about. Oh, by the way, there's going to be some like gentle spoilers in here. I'm not going to like give too much away, but I can't really talk about Flock without kind of giving away like who the Frenchman is, for example. So just keep that in mind if you haven't read Exodus yet, or like it's still gonna like, I'm not gonna crazy spoil, like someone dies. I always take foundation down my neck, I don't know why I do it. Someone dies, and I'm not gonna say who it is, but it's really sad. But anyway, yeah, there's not really a way for me to talk about Exodus without kind of lightly spoiling what's going to happen. So just keep that in mind. So my thought was going to be, you know, there was this conflict that Cecilia had with the boys after she found out the truth, and she had like 8 months without them, and she was going through, you know, like she even referenced in the story, which I really like, you know, in New Moon when Edward leaves Bella and she just has like all those seasons of just sitting by the window kind of like a zombie. We'll see. It smells like paint thinner, but I don't hate it. That's similar to what Cecilia goes through. And then, so I thought, you know, something was going to happen and, you know, kind of the traditional romance theme, she was going to get the boys back somehow. Nay. Stealing that from Bailey? Sorry. What's this? What did I do here? That's not what happens. Someone new enters the fray. The Frenchman. Tobias. Well, that's his name. I'm not going to tell you. Maybe I won't tell you his identity, but he is someone shocking, like who he's related to. But Tobias is the Frenchman. So at the start, I was like, what? Why are you introducing a new guy? A third guy? It was a struggle to get my head around the two guys, but I managed it, and now I've rooted for them, and you're fucking with me. And I thought at the start, no. And I even thought that she was going to have like, I don't know, attraction to the Frenchman, Tobias, but then, you know, her heart was always going to be with the guys. But we have to remember that Cecilia is younger as well. That's what I wanted to remind myself, you know, like this is her first sexual experience. She's always been the good girl. This is her first love, and it was so tumultuous and like so much drama happened. So I was like, okay. But so the Frenchman is the reason, Tobias is the reason for her getting separated from the two guys she loves. He is high up in the Ravenhood, and he does not like Cecilia. He thinks she's a little girl who's kind of sabotaged everything that they're trying to do. So he's like, she hates him because she finds out, you know, he's the reason, you know, that she didn't get her guys. And they have to strike up this kind of deal. It's to do with her father. I'm not going to give too much away. But anyway, they strike up this deal, so she has to kind of grudgingly have, this is quite pale, but I'll darken it up. She grudgingly has to strike up this deal with him. So she doesn't like, it'll be days. She doesn't like it, but she's doing it nonetheless. She's doing it for her father, even though, you know, he kind of doesn't deserve it. But we find out more about the relationship with her father, which I always thought there was more to. And so she has him, like, interactions with him, but he just won't leave her alone, and they obviously, like, hate each other. They have a lot of banter, which I love, a lot of intelligent banter. You can tell this, it is just intelligent, this story. So he's a whole new guy, and he's entered in, and Cecilia's just going through all of this conflict because she's attracted to the Frenchman, but she's like still, you know, pining over her lost loves, but she's also really angry at them for what they did to her at the end of Flock. So we have a lot going on with poor Cecilia. A lot. And a lot for my little heart, because I was like, what? And then, so I think it's roughly halfway, maybe a little bit less through the book, that we get to the climax of, you know, at the start of Flock, we figure out what the big thing was that made her leave. And we get to that point, and it is the death of someone close to Cecilia. I'm not going to say who it is, but guys, it made me cry, like fully cry. And it's quite hard to make me cry in books. So it was beautifully written and also heartbreaking. But that we get to the reason as to why she leaves, and then it gets to the future as to why she's coming back, which I really like. You know, a lot of these flashback books, sometimes they spend like a lot of time in the past, and then it kind of goes to the future, and it's like a little bit of conflict, but then it's like, no, everything's okay now. She didn't do that. She spent a lot of time in the future. You know, Cecilia didn't just come back and everything had frozen in time and everyone had been waiting for her. No. A lot of people had moved on. The guys had moved on, and she obviously left her fiance to go back to Triple Falls. But we also find out she is like a boss bitch in her own right. She's used the trauma of what she went through, and she's really created a great kind of life for herself. So she is stronger, but she's still got a lot going on. You know, she left her fiance because she was still in love with this guy, and she sees him again. And as I said, everyone has moved on, and she's like angry because she never got to move on, because they were just, you know, her life was scarred from that summer, and she never heard from anyone for 10 years. So super battery died. As I was saying, I quickly also want to go back to like her relationship with this Frenchman and what happens in the past. There are so many quotable lines. I highlighted them all on my Kindle, but it's all the way somewhere else in the house. So just, it's like the writing is impeccable. Again, the sex scenes were so good. But this is definitely more like angry, like they hate each other and they hate what they're doing to each other. Like neither of them want to be attracted to each other, neither of them want this connection, but it's like out of their control. So it's definitely like they don't want this, but it's like this attraction that they can't fight. And then fast forward to the future, she, you know, thought she could move on with her life. She thought she could get married and do, you know, everything, but she's just not that person. So she's come back to like kind of get closure, I would say. So as I said, she spends a good amount of time in the future kind of showing us who Cecilia has become and what that summer has done to her. And then I will tell you, I actually wasn't expecting a happy ever after. I thought, you know, she's fucked me over thus far. She's really kept me guessing with what I thought was going to happen. And I really didn't expect a lot that was going to happen. A lot of things that happened. So I was like, she's not going to give me a happy ever after. She's not going to do it. And I like, of course I love a happy ever after, but I also was going to be like, I kind of understand. Sorry, I had that like right up there. I was kind of going to be like, well, I want one, but I get why she's not doing it. But I'll give you guys the relief of knowing that we do get a happy ever after. It is really cute, and I really like the way that she did it. But one of the most unique duets I've ever read, and I really like she didn't make me wait for the next book, but really dark, really poetic, really just unexpected. Because as an author, I definitely find that I kind of do see a lot of the twists and stuff coming in all of these kinds of scenario, because, you know, as an author, you think about it in a different way when you're reading, and it is harder to get into a book sometimes. But I really got into it, and gosh, I loved it so much. I'm so happy that I like dived into it. So this is a series that you have to be prepared. It's like unlike anything you ever freaking read. It's really intense, but in like the best possible way. Okay, so I highly recommend the Flock and Exodus, and as I said, they are both out now, so you don't have to wait. You can just dive right in if you haven't read them already. As I said, I really hope I didn't I don't think I spoiled this too much for you. I'm sorry about it. I don't think I did. Next up, we have The Legacy by Dylan Allen. This is one that I've been meaning to read for ages. I actually have had the paperback for so long sitting on my shelf, and I knew it was good. So many people told me it was, but it was so good. So I'm going to give you an overview. First person dual point of view. I would say a really high percentage of the book is in the hero's point of view, who is Hayes. Which again, it's not always my favorite, but I actually really like the way that she did it. I thought it was written really well. We still get the heroine is Confidence, because her mother named her children names that with qualities she wanted them to be able to embody, and she thought it would be kind of like a law of attraction thing, like if she named it that, they would attract that. So her name's Confidence, and she is a lawyer, but she's been through a lot of hardships, like in the book. She's been fucked over. She comes from like a pretty small town, I think. Is it Arkansas? I can't remember. I'm terrible with places. But she comes from a tiny, tiny, tiny town in really humble beginnings, and she's fought her way to become this lawyer, and it's all ruined by a fucking man, obviously. So she's on this holiday, you know, using some of the last of her savings to just like try and figure out what the fuck she's going to do with her life. And then she meets Hayes, who is like royalty. He's like part of this like dynasty in Texas, this oil family. Well, actually, we get this really cool little note at the beginning of the book that kind of explains where it's set, and it's between these two families that have had this like feud going on, because it's between the Rivers and the Wilds, because now I'm going to get the names mixed up. The Rivers, I think, are this old oil money and, you know, very snobby old money, and then the Wilds are this new money that just came over as immigrants, and they were really enterprising, and they actually ended up bailing out the Rivers because there was like the oil crisis and all of that. Bless you. There was the oil crisis and all of that, and they had to bail them out, and there's this like, the Rivers really hate them because they're like bourgeois and they're new money and they're tacky, you know, classic fucking rich people snobbery, even though they've worked hard to get what they, you know, whatever they did. And so there's this feud between that has gone on for like I think 2 generations. So we're reading about this new generation, and they don't know about the origins of this feud. They're like, well, we've always hated them, but we don't really know why we've always hated them. Like, our families have just always been, you know, at war. And Hayes' family are dicks. I'm just gonna say that. Not all of them. But anyway, so Hayes' dad died when he was a teenager, and there was like a lot of scheming because Hayes was the heir to the kind of dynasty, but he was obviously too young, and he had like a scheming uncle. There's always a scheming uncle, I swear. He had a scheming uncle, and he was sent away to live with his aunt in Italy, you know, away from all of the drama of it, until he was older and he could take over the family company, because, yeah, there's a drama. So we see a little bit of him when he's that age, and then it fast forwards to the future. You know, he's coming back to take control of what's rightfully his. Drama ensues. So I will say that confidence in him, it's definitely insta-love, like sex very early. They're in love with each other. She gets a tattoo of his name on her back within 3 months because she's obviously head over here. So there's definitely insta-love. And as I said, saucy sex scenes, like really saucy. I think it's like not the first chapter, the second chapter maybe, or even the third. But anyway, so they get together as a couple relatively quickly. But it's not that simple. So Confidence is still, you know, struggling, and she's really proud and a really strong woman. And Hayes is a man, and he's trying to do what he thinks. It's a weird little glare going on. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know what it is. I'm sorry if it gets really dark in here. It's all of a sudden got really dark. He thinks he's doing the right thing by like offering to pay for things and fly her on his private jet. But it's like she's an independent woman. She wants to make it on her own. And there is definitely conflicts because his family are super snobby to the point where like, if you don't have the right family name, we're not even going to talk to you. And I hated it. Like his stepmother, she was evil. So these Confidence grew up in a really rough childhood with like an abusive father, and then way more modest circumstances, obviously, than Hayes. And she was raised to treat, you know, everyone kindly and all of that. And she's definitely shocked when she visits Rivers Wild, which is a little, is it like a town or like a little, it's this really like picturesque like little community that they've designed to be like really cool. So she arrives there and she's just like shocked with how she's treated because, you know, she's not from money. And this is where all the conflicts come. And obviously Hayes is going through a lot because, you know, he hasn't been back here since his father died, and a lot of these people are like strangers to him, and he's just trying to, you know, figure it all out. So there's conflict that happens. So they were together for a while, and then she goes to Rivers Wild. So as I said, she's a lawyer, and I really like the way that it was written because she's like a lawyer, but she specializes in like flood victims who get like kind of fucked over by like insurance companies, especially, you know, in Houston, there's like hurricanes and all of that. What was I even saying? Oh yes, so flood victims, you know. So she fights for them, and she is like a crusader, and she's done this all herself. So she's kind of like trying to educate Hayes. Like she's like a social crusader. She's trying to educate Hayes on like what he hasn't experienced because he's lived a life of such privilege. And there's definitely a lot of like conversations about that, which I really like. Both Flock and The Legacy, they really touch on a lot of social issues and like disparities between, you know, the wealthiest and the poorest communities, which I think is really important. Like, you know, you're writing a romance book for escape, but it doesn't, you know, you can always talk about other stuff, which I really like. So they have a lot of conflict, and she's like educated and she's stubborn. I love a stubborn woman because I'm a South Ham one. And so yeah, they definitely, a lot of their fights are about the fact that he just doesn't understand like where she's coming from and all of that, which I really like. And she ends up coming to work in Rivers Wild as like a lawyer while they're still having a lot of conflict. And another thing I will say, she's got really, really good side characters in here. I'm really impressed with the way that she wrote the side characters. And they're obviously all going to get stories because Hayes has these brothers. And then the Wilds are also, you know, Remington, I'm pretty sure his name is kind of featured, and then he is a twin sister. So she set it up so there's a lot of stories, and she's also made me really like invested to know about these. Like she's written them so well, like the community and every side character is very fleshed out, which I love. I love it when authors do that. So I'm super impressed with that. So I really like the way that she did the side characters. I thought that was so good. So she comes, this brush is shedding like a little bitch. So she comes to Rivers Wild, this community, because she wants to work. She ends up working for like the enemy, but they're not. Like the two guys, Hayes and Remington, decide to call a truce, even though neither of them really know what the conflict was even about. So we do find out what the conflict was and why, like what it was all about. We do find that out towards the end. But she's definitely left it open for more characters to get their stories, and she's definitely made me really invested in like wanting to know more about each character and their stories. So I really, really like that. Again, this was another first read for me. I haven't read anything by Dylan Allen before, so I'm super, super impressed with that. Happy ever after. Do we yet? Happy ever after. Of course we do. The two writing, I really appreciated Exodus again, like with last week. The two books were so gosh darn different, and I really, really loved that. I really appreciated that because it gave me two such different experiences. As I said, Exodus was a lot darker, just a lot more kind of conflict. Well, there is definitely still conflict in the Legacy, but it's still kind of lighter in a way, but not in a, like, I'm not meaning this in a bad way by any means, but I just really liked it. I just really liked the way she did it. Okay, it was just really good. So yeah, as I said, I really liked the little preface, like, gosh, am I okay? No. Gosh, it's gotten so dark in here. So sorry. She's obviously really knowledgeable about like Houston, about the area, about a lot of the things that go on, like even about the law stuff. It was just all really well researched, and I really appreciate that. I thought that was so well done. So really, really good. So engaging. I read it in like going for a pinky look, guys, if you haven't noticed. I read it in like one sitting, and as I said, it's so easy to read. Makes me want to know about everyone else in the family. And figure out like what's going to happen, because I feel like there's going to be more. It's where there's going to be more conflict going on. Like, I know that this isn't the end of it, and I love that. I think it was just done so well, and as I said, you're really connected to all the characters, and you're connected to this Rivers Wild place. Give me 2 seconds, gone. Swear I can't multitask. And I don't know if I want to have a story. Who do I want to have a story? I don't know. I think maybe Remington or the brother Deer, because his brothers, Hayes' brothers, there's a lot going on with them. Because they're his half-brothers, are they? His half-brother? No, they're his step-brothers, sorry. So his dad remarried after his mother died. And his stepmother is a big bitch. She's a bitch. And they're all kind of like damaged from what their mother did to each of them. So I definitely think that we are going to like get, well, I need to know, if I figure out how many is in the series, I will put it up on the screen. But we'll definitely get more, and as I said, I'm definitely going to read more by both of these authors. I was so impressed with both of them. Such a good read. And I love that this is making me like read. Wait, I can't talk and do this. Alright, let's just pretend they match. When it comes to a wing with me, you guys, it's like eyebrows. They're cousins, not sisters. It's not my forte, but like once I get, you know, a little bit of lashes on, you won't even notice that how badly I fucked it up. So just pretend that she did okay. Now I forgot what I was talking about. I just went through all that trauma. Welcome to another session where I don't know how to pronounce a word. Stop fucking with it. I don't know why. Why am I fucking with it? I need to stop. Okay. So as I was saying, I think as I was saying at least, I was really, let me find a colour that I want. Like, I was really intrigued to know more about the rest of the series, and I will be reading more about the rest of the series, because I'm like, well, what happens with the brothers now? You know? Who's next? What kind of girl? Again, but I really like, she wrote like a strong woman. Strong women are just, I'm gonna fuck with it again. You know I am. You know I am. And everyone's probably shouting, no, don't do it. But I am. Stop. Stop, Ron. Stop. Yeah. Well, it is like such a good, it is like a really, not an easy feat for an author to, my foundation's cracked all around my nose and mouth, you guys. Not sure if this is the one. Not sure. It's really not that easy for an author to kind of create this connection to these characters and make you want to be like, well, I want to know more. And especially to create such a good relationship as well as all of these side characters, and then this setting of this community, and then the two families, and then in addition to that, get a lot, like do all the research into the laws and you know, all of that stuff that goes on. So I think that she did so well with that, and I'm so impressed with that. So snaps for Dylan. So as I said, I would go the Raven Hood Duet. Oh, all that work. And look what I just did. Sorry about that, guys. It was somewhat of an abrupt cut. I was just about to say I was gonna go do my lashes and stuff anyway, so sorry. But I did just do my lashes and lips in here off camera. So yeah, I think we are done with these two in the look for today. I'm actually so glad I refilmed this because I like this like so much more. Yeah, foundation's probably still I don't know. I'll see. I like it anyway. But yeah, so those two books, such great books. Next week, I think I'm going to do Thriller Thursday next week as well. I'm going to try to do Thriller Thursday and Smut Saturday because I have a couple of thrillers that I want to talk about. And then I also want to get stuck into Wild Highway by Devney Perry, which has been on my Kindle for the longest time. And then I think I want to do A Duke by Default by Alyssa Cole, or The Perry and the Puppet by B.B. Reid. So some really good books coming up, and I'm really excited to share them with you guys. Thank you so much for watching. It means so much to me that you are liking this new thing that I'm doing, and it's really good for me, as I've said like 1,000 times. If you haven't subscribed already, please make sure you do, and thank you so much. I'll see you in the next one.